if I'm, oh gosh,
I know you went hard on this one. Like I don't even know.
I am the king.
if I'm gonna guess,
God, I hope you get it right, just
So
to
do
make
I.
him. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the DeluluCanoePod. Woo-hoo-hoo! We are back, baby, and ready to jump right back into the canoe. But before we start paddling upstream, I have to announce our producer for this episode, Cosmo from the Cosmo Show.
Yo, what up, everybody? How's everyone doing? How are you doing there?
I'm so good. I'm so excited for our guest today.
Nice.
We've got a friend of mine. Well, actually, it started off as a business venture and then into friendship. And then my contracted photographer we have joining us today is Happier Trigger LA. And his bio reads, "Call me Jim."
Yeah, just call me Jim. It's easy. I like to keep it simple.
I love reading people's Instagram bios because it says a lot about them, but you're just like, "Call me Jim."
Mine's awful. That got put on there because I would reach out to people about shooting. This was really early on, and then they'd be like, I don't know what your name is. And I'm like,
no.
because it's not on there. So I had to put on there like, hi, this is what you can call me because you don't have to call me Happy Trigger. And people do, but
when I first met you, I think I called you JD.
that's on there too. Well,
Yeah.
I have different ones that have different things just because I honestly just like kind of messing with people.
Mhm.
But I don't mind either one of those, but that's kind of where those evolved from. But like, I used to, do career advising and would not advise people to have the bio that I have on mine. 'Cause it's not good enough.
I mean, it's short, sweet, and to the point.
Very.
Yeah. I just thought it was funny because it's always a telltale sign of a person of what they write on their Instagram bio. I don't know. I get a good kick out of it.
Yeah, mine's like, hi, here's my name. Book me for stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's about what it is. That's kinda
DM
where
me
it
for
ends.
rates.
Very
Kind
simple.
of. Yeah, but I think that's about it. And then here's some other websites.
Yeah. Well, on this show, we love to have guests from all around tell us a little bit something about themselves that maybe they don't advertise on Instagram, but we like to call it their delulu.
Oh, okay.
So, or short for delusional if you're new to the show. And it is so interesting to hear what people have to say and what like makes them run a little delusional in their brain. So I'm curious, you're the first photographer we've had on.
Okay.
I want to know like what makes you delulu?
I mean, there's a lot of things that fit into that category, just because that's the type of person I am. I mean, AI is really starting to drive me crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know who isn't. Maybe scientists. I think a lot of scientists probably like it. I think most creatives might have a very, very crazy relationship with AI right now.
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
We had Claris Polaris on.
Oh, okay.
And she was talking to us about how someone is taking her content and AIing a different face on her. So you are not alone in this AI delulu.
It's crazy. I think that it's a very interesting one because it's one of those things. It reminds me of like COVID times where, you would think that the economy is going to fall apart and like we're going to start like looting and all this kind of stuff. And like the big problem was that we couldn't find toilet paper.
Right?
Right? Like this made no sense. That's where I see AI going is like, we're going to be like, cool, we have this great tool. And we did and then aliens are watching us and they're like, this is what they did with it. I'm like, what? Like I see so many cool things. Like there's really cool research being done with it. There's really cool cancer stuff being done with like early diagnosis I'm reading. But like there's so many really honestly very, very cool things about it. And then there's like really not cool stuff about it.
Yeah.
That I was talking, this conversation comes up a lot when you do the things that we do.
Yeah.
That like it doesn't belong. I don't feel like it really belongs in the creative field. If it's in the creative field, it's supposed to be a tool in the toolbox.
Mhm.
It's not the only tool. Like I guess the expression I've kind of told people is like, if doing a production, right, like a movie or whatever, photo shoot, anything, like it's all a big thing that requires like multiple moving parts and multiple people and that kind of stuff. I'm building a house, right? I'm not gonna build a house and just use a hammer and nails.
Right.
And that's what AI is turning into from the corporate level of creativity is like, let's just build it with hammer and nails because it's really easy to do. And like, that's sure that house isn't going to stand very well. And it's not, right. It's already kind of not really doing that well, in my opinion. So yeah, I feel like I think it's a very cool tool to have in the tool belt. I think it's a cool thing for creatives to be able to use if you're trying to get past like a creative block,
Mhm.
or you know what I mean, like more introductory, like I want to use some stuff for reference material, right?
Mhm.
But not for the end product, not for anything that's kind of on the finished end of things.
Yeah. Like,
Um,
if I'm going to out myself for using a little bit of AI here, I use this platform called Opus Clips,
okay.
where I send them my podcast episode, Delulu Canoe, and they chop it all up and make a nice little short form
Hmm.
video. Awesome. It costs a little bit of money, but it does a pretty decent job of giving us little short form clips. Is it replacing my editor? No, by any means. We still, of course, have the lovely Chompy editing this episode, but it takes a little load off her back. But on the other hand, there are scammers out there taking my images and putting their face on it. So, yeah, there's always going to be a little good and a little bad.
And like to that point, like,
Mhm.
say someone doesn't have an editor, they don't have all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
It helps do that, right? Like there's a lot of features that like I think people also call AI things that aren't necessarily AI.
Mm.
There's a lot of bot things. There's a lot of things that you're going to train as bots, but I wouldn't necessarily call that artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Because to me, intelligence is a very specific word. But like there's bots. I haven't subscribed to any of them, but I've been very curious to try that. There's ones that will actually learn your editing style and learn your photo selecting style.
Oh.
It's advertised towards people that do like weddings and events and stuff like that, where it will select out or it'll take out any blurry photos. That way
Hmm.
you're not looking at any of those. But to me, that's a more automated process, right? Like
Sure.
it's looking at ones and zeros of like what do you choose and why.
Mhm.
But again, it is a tool that I can choose to use to do that. But I'm not like it's not like all right, here's your photos. Like I'm not just gonna like turn those over to the people and then that's it, right? Like I
Without
mean,
looking,
you
yeah.
could do that, but I wouldn't do that as the person that you're paying to do that. At least I should review through them. I should
Oh,
at
for
least do
sure.
something to make sure that like I'm still a part of the process here. So yeah, there's just I mean, so I've used ChatGPT. It was more out of curiosity than anything else. Um, Again, there's a lot of helpful things on there. Like when I used to like I still help friends do some career advising for them and stuff like that. And it's a great place to get started with a cover letter.
Hmm.
Writing stuff. It's really helpful for writing stuff that people aren't writers. So, I feel like that was a big push for what that was, right?
Yeah.
I didn't bring it with me. I could put it back in and pull it up again.
Mm.
I looked up what ChatGPT thinks the strategy should be to eliminate AI from creative fields.
Whoa.
It kind of picked out what we're already doing.
Yeah.
But it very much so made sure to preface that
Mm.
it's going to be very difficult to do this. But if you're going to, here's the things that you would do.
Interesting.
But yeah, like I like trying to like use AI to get rid of like I try to ask it questions like that.
Ask it to get rid of
But
itself.
like I mean like it's kind of keeping your friends close and your enemies closer, right? Like I'd be
Mhm.
like, I want to know what you think. You're supposed to
Yeah.
be very, very intelligent. I'm curious what your opinions are on how would we get you out of my job.
How do we destroy you?
It's just so again, like I feel like it's a little too fast, too soon for a lot of it, and then
Mm.
it's getting turned into how can rich people use it to eliminate people so that way they can you know what I mean so that way they can just make a lot of money
Yeah.
and really like produce a substandard product that the general public just doesn't know, doesn't care, or doesn't have an option. So
Yeah.
now that's all you can do. So
Yeah, I feel like where I get my Delulu from that, like where my Delulu brain goes to, is like you said, where they're eliminating the job of artists, creatives. But I will say it does help me a little bit when it comes to script writing. Like I went and worked with the fast food house. If you guys don't know, I play Texas Roadhouse. And I had the hardest time coming up with like what would KFC do in a talent show? And I asked ChatGPT, it gave me like 8 different things that Mr. Colonel would do in a talent show. So I 100% agree with you that sometimes it can be extremely beneficial, but the main problem, like we personally have, is when it eliminates jobs. And it would be super cool if like corporate America could get on board with that, where it's like, let's use it to our advantage, but not eliminate our hardworking people, employees, and keep them around, but just use it as like seasoning,
Well-
not so much the entire meal.
And then ethics.
Yes.
Computers don't have ethics.
No.
Like, this is a being that, like, this is like parenting,
Mhm.
right? Like, this thing is only going to know what it is taught.
Mhm.
So if it's going to start doing sales strategies for a company, it is
Yeah.
going to execute the sales strategies that that company puts in there that could borderline be considered unethical or pushy or things like that. And again, like, sales places run a script, right,
Mhm.
for people to run through, and that's really what this thing is like likely doing. But at the same time, when there's ethical issues, I've worked in sales positions where I almost lost my job because I wasn't doing a good job because I didn't ethically agree with what I was being asked to do.
Ugh.
And it wasn't in a realm where I was going to speak up about it,
Mhm.
but it was kind of in I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this because I don't agree with how they do these things. I either need to leave or figure out what I'm going to do.
Right.
But it's the ethical dilemma that's there, that if they just got rid of that whole department and just said, hi, robots are going to do this now it's just going to do exactly what they want, which
Mhm.
was mislead people into getting something that wasn't going to help them.
Yeah.
So, that to me, the ethical issue is the way bigger part. I see it being used in the Salesforce. I see it being used like on the business side of stuff. Like, I get a lot of that, like, the help desk, like that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But there's still moral and ethical. Like, to me, it's the same idea of when drones started getting used in the military. Like, right, people were
Yeah.
like, is this going to dehumanize things so much that war is actually going to be more common because people aren't dying, right? Because people's lives aren't on the line and the stakes aren't the same.
Right.
There's but like, at least we still have humans operating them. If
Yeah.
when we finally get to Skynet, it
Yeah.
seems like Skynet's going to start doing marketing
Mhm.
before Skynet starts like building tanks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's still it'll get there. Just give it
Yeah.
time and it'll start doing that. But yeah.
I was going to ask, where do you see AI in your like day-to-day life, and where in the times does it make you like actually either have rage or like annoyed? Like, where do you see AI in your daily life?
Artwork.
Okay,
Art
yes.
drives me bonkers. Because all it's doing is commonly copying people, or it's plagiarism rampant, again, because there
Mhm.
is no ethical consideration. It does not know what it's doing.
Right.
It's completing a task that it's being asked to do as a computer. So I'm gonna go crazy just for one little
Go for
second.
it. Yep. Go for it.
We can use this, we cannot use
He's
this,
going to go
whatever.
Delulu. Here we go.
So I already have personal issues with digital artists that
Mhm.
want to trace over my work and then pass it off as their own because they don't want to credit the original photo or the original artist, and then they just want to get the attention of the model that's in it. Okay.
Yup.
That's the only place that I want AI to put them out of a job, because honestly, you're doing no different than asking, hi, look at this photo. Can you make it look like it was digitally drawn? Like, you're
Mhm.
already basically doing what AI is doing. Stop it.
Yeah.
That's the only place where I'm like, AI, put them out of business. But it's because they're essentially doing the exact same thing, which is just copying what's out there. But
Mhm.
sorry, so segue back.
No, you're good. You're good.
But no, like, it's, yeah, I mean, I see it all the time on, Instagram. I see it, that's where we see it, at least for me, because you're following other artists, other photographers, other whatevers,
Mhm.
that's to me the part that's most rampant. And it becomes, you don't know what's real and what's not.
Right.
That's become the bigger part, is being able to know, like, is like, and the greater public has no clue.
Mhm.
Like, most people have no idea whether or not, I mean, there's we've seen this, there are fake people that do advertising, and then the controller of that makes money,
Yeah.
right? Which, I don't know how legal that is. I'm really curious where that's going to possibly go.
Yeah, it's so hard to predict the legal situation when it comes to AI. If you're watching us on YouTube, you're probably very confused. I'm wearing a completely different outfit. Jim is wearing a completely different outfit. And that is not Cosmo back there.
Not Cosmo.
Really?
So, yeah, we had a little bit of some technical difficulties with the audio, and because we're so new, we're still troubleshooting a lot of things, and we're still learning, so we lost the second half of this episode, so I brought everybody back. Cosmo is in Texas, so he couldn't join us, but I appreciate you both coming back to
Yeah.
fix this episode, button it up, make it so that it makes sense again. So we were talking about the legality of AI and how I was saying something along the lines that, like, I really hope that going forward, we do have some laws or we're starting to hold each other accountable for AI because it is helpful to businesses, but just not replacing people in their jobs is important.
Yeah, and again, like that's always a fine line, right? Like being able to tell people what they can and can't do with a tool. Like,
Yeah.
so I think one of the biggest ones came down during the entertainment strikes, like last year or the year before, where the Supreme Court. It was already an existing law, to what I know, that like computers can't own things is kind of the gist. And this just kind of extended that of like it can't create things, like, so
Right.
you can't necessarily own something that a computer created, right? And so that really opened, like, or closed the door, so that way people can't just make something with AI and then go that route, right?
Yeah.
So that is the funny part to me, though, that it's just like the faux influencers, like the AI influencers.
Yes.
And I actually saw a story since the last time I recorded. I saw a story that someone did what I wanted to do, or what I had thought about doing, which was take all of someone's content that they had made,
Yeah.
because they don't own any of it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
If you make AI generated Coke ad,
Mm-hmm.
you don't own that because it's
Right.
AI generated. Your model, your person, your everything is all AI generated and fake.
Mm-hmm.
And so someone, I think, tried to take that and make their own account and try to do the exact same thing.
Oh, wow.
But so that's kind of where this turns into like a fishy thing.
Yeah.
And I also feel like that's kind of where regular people are. It's like the Wild West. This is where regular people are stepping in, saying, fine, then I'm going to abuse this and show how ridiculous this is.
Right.
And kind of push people's hands to say, we need to figure out what to do here,
Yeah, and I feel like Instagram is doing a really good job because now they have a toggle before you post something where you have to say if it's AI. And I noticed on the back end of YouTube now they have it. Since we filmed this episode, there's now in like their features, when you go to upload a video, you have to say, like, is this video that you're uploading something that happened in real life, or is this something that has been AI generated? And if you don't toggle it on YouTube, kind of like when you say that, like, this is appropriate for monetization, same thing, where if you say, yes, this is fine, this happened, and their bot or their people see that it's not, you can be penalized for
Yeah.
it. So it's starting to happen. It's starting to exist in this world where there are some rules, and I'm glad that, like, social media is taking accountability. But like you said, it's the regular schmegulars that are taking other people's content and then just making their own influencer, and
Yeah.
it's so frustrating.
It's just, it really is the Wild West.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just like the Wild West, like, it's going to be kind of like somewhat lawless. And that's kind of where we are for a little bit until people start to figure out. Again, I think it takes time and it takes some stumbling for us to figure out where the line is.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about it when it comes to things like graphic design, where now companies can hire just a social media manager or somebody that can just develop these prompts and make their posters and their advertisement flyers for pennies on the dollar compared to what it used to cost, as long as they just crop out the hand of whatever they're trying to do, because we know AI can't do hands right.
Yeah.
But I mean, so how do you feel about it in something like that, where you would have had that same kind of revolution with computerized graphics, where traditionally, marketing firms would have had to have hired regular concept artists to actually paint and draw things, to where you had that transition into a digital job. Now, how do you feel about that, with that becoming something that can be a lot easier for the regular schmegulars?
I feel like I think that's literally where the line is on what and how do you regulate that, right? Because to me, I look at that and I'm like, well, is that any different than people using Canva, right? Like people that didn't used to know how to do any kind of graphic design and now can just clip and put stuff together.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Adobe's made some really cool tools I saw in the last couple of weeks or whatever at I think it's called Adobe Max now. It's their
I mean, that's a great example too. Film special effects guys being able to do stuff computer generated versus having to do traditional, actual
Explosions, stunts.
practical props.
Yeah.
Well,
Practical's
and
the
for
word I'm
me,
looking
like
for.
that's kind of where, like, for me, it falls into, it's a tool being used by people to, you know what I mean? It's just like, That's when we like when we were given email.
Right.
Right. So now certain people's jobs kind of got changed and moved because people had this technology and it was a little bit different and easier to work. Right. Like, so again,
where
to
do
me,
we
that's
find
a
that?
tool in my tool belt that I get to use versus someone else just doing
Right.
it because it still
Yeah.
kind of brings the quality down. Like
Well, and-
that's my thing is like it kind of really has turned into like lowest common denominator.
And
like,
where do we put the line at which it moves from being a tool into being a Terminator?
100%.
Yeah.
You know?
Like and again, like we haven't figured. Well, we kind of talked
We're
about it
working
last
there.
time. Was the idea of ethics,
Yeah.
right? Like you have bots now, and because again, like a lot of this, in my opinion, is not AI. It's not artificial intelligence. It's
Mhm.
algorithmic learning.
Because isn't
right.
it taking current things to
Yeah.
make a photo?
But like anything that AI does, it's not quantum computing. Like, right, it's not doing like the way that our brains work. They are getting there. They have made the first quantum computer, and it's really cool.
Scary.
But at the same time, again, like it's algorithmic learning, which just means it's kind of learning like if not this, then this, then this, and this, and it's just Googling things really quickly. So it's Googling, you know what I mean? Imagine it's just like Googling 30 things at once and then just like ChatGPT when it comes up when you say, make me a movie script about horror stuff and in this setting, right? It's just Googling all the scripts and then just putting stuff all together, right? It's not necessarily coming up with it on its own.
Right.
It's not generating a free thought, so
Yeah.
to speak. But like I had said kind of like last time was, but it's like a child that you're training, right? Like it only knows what you teach it. So when you have maybe slightly unethical people saying, I want you to sell this product this way and this kind of stuff, there's no whistleblower. There's no people to say, hey, this is misleading. This is unethical. This is immoral, like all that kind of stuff. You can, I never thought about it. Like I hadn't thought about it before, but it's kind of similar also like politically, right? That you have a lot of stuff that could be misled with inaccurate information.
Yeah.
Right. And now you could say, oh, but look, so-and-so said it. Okay, well, where did you see that? Like now you have to vet what source you saw it from because was that real or was that like a deep fake? Like there's so many different things people can do now.
Right.
So yeah, I think that it's
Speaking of so many different difficult things and the wild, wild west, like you said earlier,
oh geez.
I have a quiz for you,
Yay.
which you already know what the quiz is because we did it last time. Is it still recording?
Yeah, no, we're still good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Bring it.
So we did this quiz last time where we made Jim guess if it was AI or not. And spoiler alert, he got 100% last time, which I would not lie about that. I threw in a trick question at the end. He still basically got it right. So I had to compile a whole new quiz for Jim to take today. And we will let Chompy insert the photos somewhere on the screen. So you can play along too if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening with Apple or wherever you listen, I'm so sorry. You won't be able to see it, but you'll get to hear Jim's reasonings for what he thinks.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll try to explain that better.
Yeah,
too.
describe it for
Of, like why. I realized I'm like, it's not just this one. I have to show my work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just describe it for our visually
Yeah.
impaired listeners.
So our first category is
Fair.
pets. So I'm gonna lean over and show you the two.
And their secret lives. Okay, I already have a guess. It's funny because like when I do these, like I've done like like little things like this at home. I'm like on it, like this is the one, and now I'm just like when it really matters, I'm like, wait, hang on, I'm gonna study
Yeah.
it. I want to look a little bit more.
All right, describe the kitty.
But I mean, they're both cats, so I would say they're cute, but like they're cats.
Okay,
So
great.
if they were dogs, we'd be gushing right now.
Last time they were dogs.
So, yeah, were they really? I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
These cats just want to steal my soul. Like they're just staring right into the camera. I don't know how you did that. Because one of these is real, and one of these photographers actually managed to get it. Okay, so my guess, I don't know if you want me to show it to the camera.
Chompy will put it
Okay.
in post.
So my guess is that's the real one.
Okay, and then swipe to the.
And then that's the fake one.
Okay.
My reasoning, especially with a lot of AI stuff, but just in general, details are really hard. Like that kind of level of detail would, in my opinion, is really difficult with fake stuff.
Yeah.
And so as like again thinking photography wise, trying to look at the depth of field.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times with animals, you have to zoom in a lot. which means you're gonna have a really, really quick, like shallow depth. So a lot of times you have to adapt your strategy and shoot with a higher aperture to be able to make them sharper like that.
Right.
So then you're gonna get a lot of this sharpness. Whereas, oh my goodness, please zoom.
I know. Sorry, iPhones.
You could say for the same reason the softness in this, but it's just already really soft.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of no sharp element to it, which to me makes it feel like AI doesn't know what to do. Because like even the eyes aren't in focus, which I've taken plenty of animal photos where it's like that.
Yeah,
But it's like
yeah.
the nose is massively out of focus, the ears are massively out of focus, but there's no sharp point between where it actually seems to grab it. So you can tell me, I went through all of that. You can tell me. if I was
Yeah,
right or if I
yeah.
was
So
wrong.
you were right.
Okay, good.
The first one is real. You're like sweating. I can see your foot
Like-
shaking.
Like giving this justification, and you're like, no, you're completely
I was
wrong.
trying not to give you any facial cues. But yeah, 100%. Like the second one, to me, it wasn't a very difficult, like even just scrolling between the two. I was like, he'll be able to tell right away. But, I wanted to, get you back in the chair.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
Warm up.
category, in my opinion, is a little more difficult. It is architecture. So it's two houses. Actually, now looking at it, I think you'll do fine.
Is
So
it this old house? Okay. Okay, I have thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one, this is how I would take a picture.
Okay,
Sorry,
cool.
I love putting stuff in the foreground. So like I already like that picture. So for this one, I'm kind of looking at details again. I'm gonna tell you that this one's the fake one. So
Which one?
So I'm gonna be consistent
Oh, okay.
because that's the real one. That's the fake one.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that because these leaves look like they're painted.
Oh.
They don't look real. And even though again you can always edit past stuff, the contrast to me just is a little like that. The lighting contrast looks, and again the lighting situations are different in them, but this one again, like even just at quick glance, like looks like it's all correct. And like the leaves in the background and stuff like that, but you can also kind of see, at least on this part, it looks like it was repeated over a bunch.
Okay.
So again, a lot of times it's going to copy, but if it only has a small area or a small reference, it's going to recopy it and move it around, but then you can start to see similarities. So again, you can tell me if I'm right or if that was complete BS. the whole time.
Wow. Ooh. No, you're right.
Okay,
You're
God.
totally
Cool.
right.
Cool.
So the first house is actually one that's listed like for sale. So if anybody wants that house, you
Sweet.
can go get it.
Nice house. That's a
I don't
nice
know if it's still available. And I kind of thought that there's like a uplash watermark all over it. Totally thought that would maybe like throw you off.
I mean, but
not at all.
but you could be sourcing them from anywhere. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know what Uplash is. So is that like a real
Me
estate?
either,
Is it a
but
real estate
I
website? or-
assume so.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know. Those of you listening, let us know in the comments.
Sure.
What is
I don't know
uplash?
what that is.
Okay, so this next one, I let Dizza or Adam pick the
Dun, dun, dun.
the next one. So I don't actually know which is the real and which is the fake.
Well,
and I
be
have-
careful. I took a screenshot first before I cropped it, so there is one screenshot in there that reveals what one of them is based on the caption underneath
Oh.
it. So
If
you
you wanna-
should delete
Oh, I
that
deleted
picture.
it. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
you
got
should
it.
be able to
Perfect.
crop it too if you want to
Okay.
go in and edit it and crop it real quick.
Yeah, it's already edited.
Okay.
So there's a mountain scape
Sweet.
with snow,
Love it.
and then there's kind of like a Hawaiian island.
Oh, okay.
So I'll let you swipe between the
Doing
two.
different things here.
I don't know it, so I feel like I should guess too.
The other thing I'm also kind of looking at is like image quality. Oh, these are hard, dude.
Yeah.
They're blurry.
But it's also like image quality is a hard one because you're like, but is this how it would pixelate, right? Like,
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I knew like a far away naturescape would
yeah,
be the one
yeah,
to
yeah.
get you. If I was gonna
No,
get you.
definitely. Oh, I have thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't take a good look, but I think I'm just gonna like randomly guess one.
Oh, jeez. If I could, if
You could zoom.
If,
yeah.
Well, I can zoom, but like if I could zoom and see like the actual image quality, I guarantee I'd feel more confident in my answer.
It is tough because we did
Um,
pull these just from like a general Google search. So getting a good quality photo was pretty
It's
difficult
gonna
to
be hard,
find.
yeah.
But
A little plug, but Adobe Stock,
hmm,
because they do have. I would imagine they have AI generated images on there as well. Just because again, a lot of people are gonna use them as backdrops and stuff like that.
oh.
But they have really great stock photography, and if it's not necessarily AI, it would be like like digital graphics and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, cool.
But they're
Man, you said Adobe stock, and I was about to be like, bro, you're not a financial advisor, right? Like, I think there's a disclaimer.
Sorry.
You got
Big
this is a
boys.
Wendy's,
Stock
sir.
warehouse.
This is
Yeah.
a Wendy's.
their stock, their inventory. Sorry.
There you go.
If I'm, oh gosh, man.
I know you went hard on this one. Like, I don't even know.
I am the king.
If I'm gonna guess,
God, I hope you get it right, just
So
to
do
make
I.
him.
If I'm gonna guess, this one's the real one.
Which one?
So the
The
snowy
mountainscape?
one, and then the mountainscape is the fake one.
See, I was gonna guess the opposite
Um,
based on the 2 seconds
okay,
I looked at it.
Okay, which
Sorry.
one's the one with the town?
that one, the green one with the town,
Okay, you think that one's which one?
fake.
Okay.
And I feel like this one. And I think this one.
snowscape.
And what's yours?
I was just doing the opposite.
So-
I took 2 seconds to look at it, so I was gonna guess.
I don't know if the camera's gonna see this. There's one thing on the snow one that keeps driving me nuts, and
Ooh.
there's this little weird area that I can't tell what it is, so it feels messy.
Okay.
Okay.
The only reason the gradient on the sky, right? Like a lot of times AI is like, I'm gonna give this like clouds and stuff, and this one's like very boring and sad. And then the little smoggy line.
I'm going with the Hawaii looking
I
one is the
I
real.
want more.
Because you said the snow one, you're guessing.
I want more detail.
Yeah, I feel like.
It's not final answer yet.
Okay.
Okay.
just-
so
I'm just
Sorry.
going with my gut. I didn't even like really look at it. I was just guessing the Hawaii.
No,
looking one is real.
because the sky. Oh man, the sky and the clouds in the village one
We might have to get comfortable.
are
We might be here a while.
sorry.
even if you get it right, the fact that I stumped you for this long makes me
It-
feel
well,
good about it
100%.
already. Yeah.
Takes a low quality photo. Come on, Dizza.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's like, you said, try to make it hard.
You know, I mean, challenge round. Let's go.
Oh my gosh.
Come on,
sorry.
Jim. You got
I
it.
know.
I put
If
zero
I was doing it
effort into
online,
it.
when I would have already clicked my answer.
Yeah.
Like it's because this matters.
Because this matters.
And it really does. I mean, he got 100% last time. I'm,
no pressure, right?
well, okay. I was just saying it is more of like an accolade. He's like, smoke is coming out of his ears.
Yeah. I got him. Maybe.
Yeah, you did a good job. You
Yeah.
picked some
I'm trying
difficult.
to look at some of these shadows.
I just went with
Because
whatever.
the snow one's got a lot of shadows, and they all look pretty accurate to the angle of
Mhm.
like the hills and the valleys that are in there.
It makes you really wish that you knew random,
Which one was
random
which,
little
yeah.
towns in mountains better,
It
not, so
does.
you could be like,
I'm
if
not
this
traveled
is real
enough.
or not.
I'm not traveled enough. I haven't watched enough F1.
You're like, oh, that's the town of Screwbergbra,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah.
of course.
Okay.
Czechoslovakia. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'm gonna flip flop my answer.
Oh, okay. So what are you saying?
Okay, so I'm saying snow is fake. I'm saying no to this.
But you're saying that the
I'm
Hawaii
saying,
island
I'm
is
saying
real.
this one's real, and it's
Is
not.
that-
It's definitely not Hawaii. This is definitely more like something like the Swiss Alps or something.
Yeah, like
Oh, wow.
Amsterdam or something, yeah.
Shows how well traveled I am.
Sorry. Just the buildings.
No,
I
you're
was like,
great.
you wouldn't see those in Hawaii at all.
What was I saying? Was I saying Hawaii was real or
Yes.
Swiss Alps is real?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one that you were saying.
So
was real.
you're agreeing with
I'm
me?
agreeing with yours.
Oh, should I flip flop then so
Um,
somebody at least gets it right?
No, you should go with your gut.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, I took 2 seconds to look at it. I really
Yeah.
didn't take my time.
So the sky on it's really good. It's like slightly overexposed, but not a lot. Like it really is kind of around what you would like. What I feel like you would have for
Yeah.
shooting
Okay.
this type of a scene.
Because I tried to find amateur photography
Sure.
photo too,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that
yeah.
they wouldn't be like all super professional
Yes.
about it.
But see, there's like a little there's power lines right here, and they just look really. They look like they make sense, and it's not like a perfect straight line. It's like they had to go. Like I don't feel like it would
Okay,
think
yeah.
about the architecture of but what if there's a little thing here? So it just can't go in a straight line. I feel like
Mhm.
AI would have just been like, look, a line. So yeah, sorry, please tell me.
Okay, so final answer, we're both going with
locked in with Swiss Alps.
with locked in. That
Yes.
Swiss Alps town is real.
Yes.
Sure.
You are both correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my good lord.
Oh, thank God.
It was the
Oh.
sky that was messing me up. But those little.
So this
It
is
really
real.
was like in
Yeah.
the snow area. There's a couple little areas that are kind of like smushed, and
That
that was Original seeded doubt.
So hard. Dude, Chompy, put those two next to each other because
Ugh.
that is like,
That was
wow.
awful.
My brain hurts.
The image, having a lower image quality definitely makes that harder.
Okay, so now the category we were not expecting. Good polling, by the way.
You know, yeah, I only get one. I gotta make it good.
Was it 3? That's 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
good.
this next category is children's art.
Oh no.
Anytime a child draws art, so good luck. You got a butterfly.
But I mean, like, AI is a child. So
and then
like,
a kid drew their family.
oh, I've already got. I feel like this is like easy one.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that this is the real one.
Which
and
one?
This is the fake one.
Nope.
Oh, interesting.
Is flip flopped.
Because like, there's just way more texture. There's
Yeah.
way more texture on this kind of stuff. Like,
So-
this is actually like, hi, I'm actually making art. Like, if this is a 4-year-old, if this is like a young child,
Yeah.
like, put them in schools right now. Like, put them in special schooling.
Which one
This
are
one.
you yeah, so that was the real piece of art, and then the family all scribbly was the fake.
Interesting.
Isn't that weird?
Like, this
Like-
has like, well, I mean, like, again, the mediums are a little different, but I was just like a kid, like, it's like watercolors, but like actual quality.
This
So,
is a good.
I mean, like,
good
again,
artist.
if you want, even if you just looked at it, is this one a child or is this one a child? Like, I
mean,
feel
they
like,
both- yeah, that one I thought would be kind of like
Yeah.
tricky because like kids, like
it doesn't usually simulate, like, to me, it doesn't usually simulate textures very well.
yeah. Yeah,
Like,
I was
La-
looking like AI examples, and then like a bunch of kid art came up, and I,
I
was
like
like,
half don't believe you. I like
"Ooh."
I half want to check your source on this.
Oh well, I mean, yeah, I can look for it. I can do the back search on my Safari. All right, let's do
Yeah,
the
yeah, sorry.
next one. No, you good, you good. Dun. Oh, and last but not least, a burger. Foods. I know I'm so hungry right
Food
now.
ones.
AI food is like
Yeah,
as hard as
a
like, is it
challenge.
real or is it cake?
Last time we did spaghetti for Jim, and he was able to clock it like
Yeah, it was
really
a pretty
fast.
easy one. It's hard just because like food photography is fake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's like
already
wax.
fake, yeah.
You've seen like how they make like the Thanksgiving dinner, and it's literally the turkey is covered with like wood stain,
Yeah.
and then like they cut it and they just use a hair dryer to like cook that one slice. I'm like, this is just gross.
Yeah. Or like cheese is like glue,
Oh
like
yeah.
on pizza pulls when they pull it in the cheese.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like mashed potatoes instead of ice cream.
Yeah.
same
Yep.
thing.
Because it gets that perfect like dome shape.
And it can't, otherwise the ice cream will melt under the lights too fast.
Oh, good point. Good point.
okay,
Are we all food photographers now? Is that what's happening?
I think we've all just worked in the industry.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
How we thinking, Jim?
I feel like this one I thought you would get right away.
I mean, it's hard because this like because they're just very very different. So like
Mhm.
this is like such flat lighting. It's really hot. Like it's and there's nothing for context, and this one has all the context.
Oh yeah.
So I have to try to look at the context of the one that I have.
Yeah, because I remember I handed you the spaghetti one. You were like, got it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, again,
Well, I feel like with spaghetti, it would probably be the same thing like with fingers, where the AI has a hard time determining where a start and a finish is and what is one thing instead of two, you know?
I mean, if I'm wrong on one, I can definitely tell you that one is poorly photoshopped.
Okay,
If
yeah.
it's not, I originally wanted to say this is the fake one, but I'm pretty sure this is the real one,
Okay.
and then this is the fake one. But if not, I have tell me,
Doubts.
and then I can tell you.
No, you're right.
Okay.
You're
So
right. Yeah,
what I
go
was
for
gonna
it.
say is that I don't know if people could see it. Like look at how badly photoshopped that is. But someone could do that. So then I'm like, well, but if someone was like, I wanna take this in a restaurant and then Photoshop a black background on there,
Mhm.
this is how bad normal people would probably do this. Like they just don't necessarily have the attention to detail.
Yeah.
The only so on this one,
Mm-hmm.
what was kind of like I couldn't tell if it was trying to fake a really shallow depth of field again with small
Mm.
items like this.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have that where it just falls off really quickly, so a lot of that's going to be blurry.
Yeah.
What was really throwing me off is so a lot of people don't know the in the depth of a photo,
Mhm.
how like say there's like candles in the background, right, and that's like a circle.
Yeah.
Right. You can actually have those as different shapes.
Oh.
That has to do with the shape of the way the camera has its aperture.
Oh.
So
Okay.
there's ones that have like a triangle aperture,
Mm-hmm.
and so it actually you'll see little triangles
Yeah.
in there, and you can also mimic it by having a filter. You can have like a different color, a different shape over your lens,
Mhm.
and it'll do the same thing.
Hmm.
But these ones, they were close, but they like weren't. Wow,
Weren't quite right.
there's like two little. Sorry, I'm just making sure. There's two like little spots,
Yeah.
and they weren't quite symmetrical, and they weren't quite the same shape.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, did it try to mimic it, and it didn't do it right? But yeah, there's just too many details in here that to me just look like delicious.
Yeah, I know. I'm so hungry.
But
right
I
now.
don't know if this is like this is a place I would eat, and then you're like, this is McDonald's McChicken.
Yeah,
right?
like it's sad McDonald's
couldn't
burger,
tell, so-
right?
Again, like that could just like one's just a really well taken
Yeah.
photo, one could just be a very poorly
She is real.
Lit.
She is fake.
lit photo. So
Yeah, I feel like the droplets on the tomato are too perfect, but
a little bit. But so again, sometimes they're just lit like that. Like they're
Yeah.
just like, hi, I want this to look really boring and perfect. Like,
Mhm.
okay.
Well,
So
if you
80%.
felt like this was
Okay.
like whiplashy, we actually have a Patreon episode that we shot with the beginning episode of this. So prepare to be even more whiplashed because everything worked except for that segment where we quizzed you. So congratulations
Yeah.
on making it through the quiz.
I'll still take an 80%.
You killed it.
I was typically like an 80%, like a B student.
Honestly,
Anyway,
you did
so-
great. Like those were AI is it's easily
challenging.
detectable in some of them, but like other categories are
Mhm,
hard.
yeah.
Like kids drawings. Who?
Yeah, it was
what?
kinda
no. So be sure to check us out on Patreon, where you all asked Jim some awesome questions about photography, what it's like being a cosplay shooter, a car shooter, and you even have your own art show coming up.
I do.
Where
Well,
we
it's
get
not
to come
my art
see.
show, but it's an art show that I'm a
Oh,
part
right.
of. Yeah, I'll actually give them a little bit of a plug. I used to work
Yeah.
with them a little bit, but it's a company called Raw Artists. They're all over the country, all over the world. And they put on art shows where basically we're responsible for selling a number of tickets. And I
Mhm.
feel like that kind of pays for our footprint of where we're going to be at the show. But they do stuff with musical artists. They'll usually have a fashion show. And then
Oh,
there's
cool.
lots of different mediums. So people are doing paintings and photography and jewelry, and I've bought board games from there before, and candles, and just all sorts of different stuff. So it's just a really cool way for artists to be able to get their stuff out there and for people to kind of see their stuff. So it'll be really
Yeah.
fun.
I hope by the time this episode comes out, like people can still like check it out somehow, or if
They'll
they're in the LA area.
they give us recap photos. So like that's another thing that
Oh,
they do
great.
is so they'll I again used to be one of the photographers that did it, but they try to make sure that everyone like can get portraits
Okay,
taken.
yeah.
So like they usually have a backdrop where you can just get like a professional picture taken.
Mhm.
And then they usually always try to make try to go around and get pictures of everyone with their display, and then if they can, a little bit of like action shots of people interacting with their booth and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool that we'll usually always have photos to be able to share of like
Aw.
how it went and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Well, if you can't make it, we look forward to seeing the
Yeah.
photos from the event.
Mhm.
Thank you both again so much for coming back and helping us patch up this episode. I appreciate you both.
Thank you, Adam.
Yay.
Thank you for
And-
not making me cry.
Oh, wait, did Cosmo make you cry?
No, but like that picture, I'm still haunted.
You still got it right.
I know,
Oh,
but I'm still like
no.
still just dwelling on it.
Oh. Well, be sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Thank you to everybody who listens to us on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Please leave us a 5-star review. It really helps push us up in the algorithm. Again, we are still so new. We still have a lot to learn, so I appreciate any and all support on all platforms. And be sure to consider checking out Patreon, as it's the only place that we actually make money right now to help make sure our lights stay on and buy lovely decorations for the set. As you can see, we've got our fall theme happening right now. So thank you so much to our patrons, and I hope you all stay Delulu, and remember that it is the Salulu. Bye!